Hi, everyone. Welcome to Piercing the Veil.
Hey everyone, good to see our friends again. We got quite a few in here already.
Yeah, we got War Criminal, A Moon at Noon, Pixie Laura, Richard
See,
Elmer,
saw
Michelle
Gary.
Grimmer, Gary, Moon at Noon. I think I already said Moon at Noon. We got Clay, Conspiracy Music.
All right. Well, welcome in everybody. We've got an amazing guest tonight. I know some of you know her, some of you may not. So this is going to be a very interesting show. This is going to be talking about fairies and orbs, and you know that we pick up orbs on our cameras, and we've got a lot of interest in common with LaLa, and I just can't wait to talk to her about all this.
Yeah, so I hope everybody's had a great weekend, and we're getting nice weather here, and
Yep.
the orbs are really participating on our night feeds, and we stopped it for a little while to do a little maintenance and let the computer and cameras refresh, and so we'll be starting that up again later tonight. And so tonight you can watch animals or orbs or whatever shows up on the cameras on our 24/7 feed. And I know LaLa, they have security cameras and they catch a lot of interesting stuff too. So
Yep.
we'll go ahead and bring her up, and we'll get started and let her tell all about what she's been doing and anything upcoming. Hi,
Hi,
LaLa.
Hi, welcome.
thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, it's our pleasure. I'm glad you came. So go ahead and just introduce yourself and tell everybody where they can find you or what you got going on, anything upcoming or.
Okay, I'm LaLa Bright. I'm on Facebook, LaLa Bright. I'm on X, LaLa Bright 59. I also do readings and make orgonite, which is crystals and resin and copper, and it's healing. It protects against EMF. And so I have a website. It's lalabrightllc.com. I've been on Grizzly's show, Andy Code's show, Deb Cobb, lots of shows. And Bob McGuire and I live together. He used to be CIA, and he's a scientist, and we live together. And we put up cameras, and we started picking up a lot of things because I would tell him I feel these things. Sometimes I see things, and so he wanted proof. We've been getting proof for a year and a half.
Wow.
And it's very interesting. We have a show on YouTube every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern called Orbs Paranormal. Different topics all the time. I have ADD, so we bounce around. Sometimes we have round tables with psychics or Bigfoot. Sometimes we do interview, like we interviewed Alan Greenfield last time. That was a one-on-one interview. So it's all types of different things.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so interesting when you go through this footage and like our night vision or our ATN binoculars or whatever we're using. It's like, you don't really see nothing as you're filming it live. And then you go back through the footage a little bit. Jane will catch it all the time. It's like, wow, where did that come from? I can't believe that. So then you got to clip that out and then put it up there and let everybody else see it. And
it's addictive. It is.
Yeah.
I get it. I do what you do. I go through all the stuff and I'm like, okay, hold up. Let me zoom in on this. But that's where we find the best stuff. I bet you get feelings sometimes, right? And you just,
Yeah.
Yep.
And so, I mean, we've gotten craft. We've got, they light up our neighbor's roof with a crawling light. Sometimes it's interesting. And the way we found out about the roof is that we had the camera pointed one direction, and this is in the backyard. And one night, an orb shot down on our porch. It moved our heavy. Well, it appeared as a human. It was a head, neck, and shoulders, but it was just light. It had fog around it, and it moved our heavy camera to point to the neighbor's roof. It went back into an orb, shot off, and then that's when the light appeared crawling on our neighbor's roof. And
Wow.
We've kept it there it's been a year now. We've kept it there. And they do it a lot. I mean, sometimes they'll take a couple months off, but then sometimes they'll do it twice in a night, every day for a week. It's interesting.
It's
Wow.
just fascinating, you know. And we talked previous, and me and Jane talk about it all the time. We don't really even know what these orbs or skyfish are. I mean, we're thinking they're living entities, obviously, but
Mhm.
what are they? You know, we don't know if they're an animal, if they're some kind of alien species, and we keep looking up and trying to research it, and we're just coming up with a dead end.
Mhm.
We get skyfish and rods, things like that, and I'd never seen them before ever before we did the cameras. And one night they started the skyfish. There were quite a few of them, and I got kind of scared because I didn't know what they were while I'm watching this live. And do you know that they disappeared because I got scared? 2 days go by, and I go, okay,
Mm.
I'm ready again. Can you come back? And they came back. So
Wow.
Wow.
they're not a bug. They can, and
Right.
I said this within myself. I didn't say this out loud. They can sense us.
Mhm.
That blew my mind. It really did.
Yeah, I've been trying to talk to them telepathically instead of out loud to
Yep.
try to connect with them. You know, I tell them tap on the camera. You know, you
Good.
know, do things like that.
I
You know,
think
and you'll probably have them disappear in front of the camera like we do. Also, it's just like they'll show up and just poof, they're gone.
right. And bugs don't do that. You'll
Right,
see those things fly by and do whatever. These
and yeah, they're usually brighter white. Also, I mean, I can tell a difference with the bug, and just the way they're drunk. You know, they don't fly like orbs. Orbs are just kind of floaty. And we'll turn on the IR in the barn once in a while, and you see the dust.
yeah.
Dust acts totally different also than what
Yeah.
these orbs are acting like.
Have you guys? We sometimes get. I call it football. It's a football shaped orb that shows up sometimes.
Oh,
I don't think I've seen that.
yeah, I
It's
haven't seen that.
and it's always solo. It doesn't come with other ones, and it appears out of nowhere. It slowly goes, and it finds the camera every time, and then just
Hmm.
disappears. I just call it football. I don't know what else to call it. And
Right.
Wow.
I mean, that's usually what we do. We just try to pick a term to describe something that maybe everybody would know what the shape is or whatever. So, I mean, there's no real specific other than rods. And
Hmm.
back in the 70s, I remember watching like Arthur C. Clarke. And that was the first time I ever saw sky rod or rods and skyfish. And he had a big show on it, but they didn't even know what they were. But you know, they kind of thought alien life, but
Mhm.
Hmm.
There's tons and tons and tons of different alien species, and I always thought that they were the big-headed, aliens, but they're different shapes, they're different sizes, and especially I think they also choose to be a certain form when they appear to us in our realm. They might
right.
not really be that form in their realm or dimension. So but I know there's more than we're aware of, much much more than we're aware of.
Hmm.
But I think
Yeah.
they're trying to help us in some way. I think the ones that show up are they're trying to get our attention for something, you know.
Right. I wish I
Yeah,
knew why.
well, that's what Jane does. She goes out in the backyard and she sends out love and kindness, you know, and we mean you no harm, but we only want, good and positive
Hmm.
interactions. And we seem to get it. You know, we haven't really had one up close or anything land or anything show up necessarily like that, but we do see them in the sky and we get flashes and power ups and
Hmm. Yeah, I call it the flasher, and it's like they have a personality. It's This one's fun, and I found it accidentally. We were out back at night, and Bob's got this really really bright flash on his camera, and I'll take pictures. And all of a sudden, I started noticing there was this round metallic thing in the sky in one picture, and a second later, because I'll do it real fast, a
Hmm.
second later, it disappeared. It didn't move;
Hmm.
it just disappeared.
Yeah.
And so I flashed again, and all of a sudden this thing flashes back. And so we start doing the song and dance for a few days or a few nights, and then I guess I didn't want to go outside one night, so I stayed in the house, and all of a sudden something set off our back camera, and I look and it's flashing at us. So I went out.
Wow.
It was like a calling. So I went out and I flashed back, and it's really neat. I haven't seen
Yeah.
that one in a couple months, but they do visit every once in a while. So
Yeah, I mean, it's just unimaginable, all the things that are out there. It's just hard to wrap your head around it, because not only do you have all the alien spacecrafts that look different, between the cigar shapes and the round and the saucers and cubes, and you have different portal shapes, and you have different alien species, the avian and the reptilian and Palladians, and you just have all these different things. So, and why wouldn't you see orbs and fairies and
right.
all them in different sizes, shapes, colors? I mean, there's got to be
Mhm.
different species of them too.
Oh yeah, we got a fairy on camera, and I always liked the idea. I even have a fairy tattoo, but I never really believed in it. And one night, Bob goes out the front to put something in the truck, and I later on, hours later, I'll review everything from our camera, and it looked like a little fast orb zooming around his body. And I slow it down and I stop it. This thing had wings, legs, an arm. It was like a little mini person with light wings. And then it went so fast it looked like an orb. I mean, this thing was faster than an orb. It was strange. And I don't think that one came back again. I'm sure it's here, but I believe from that day on, I really did. It was very interesting. And it wasn't scary. It wasn't anything bad. It was just watching him. It was checking him out. It was interesting. But we have a lot of flowers. I heard that they like plants and flowers, right?
Yeah, I've
Right.
heard that too. Yeah.
So I
Well, I
put
mean,
extra
people make
flowers.
fairy gardens for them, and and they have pretty flowers and little houses, and whether they actually take up house in those structures, I don't know, but they do tend to hang around there when you put gemstones and crystals
Mhm.
around it. And
That's a good idea. Now I know what we're gonna do. We're gonna have a craft night.
there you go.
It might work. Who knows?
Yeah.
I I do know we got a couple crafts on camera, and the one was awesome. It's shaped like, okay, so it looked like a really bright light in the sky, and I zoomed in on it, and it's honestly it's shaped like the Black Knight satellite. I swear to God, it doesn't
Mm.
look exactly, but it does have that peculiar shape. And I talked to it and I said, "Can you come back again? I want to know more about you." It came back on 3 different nights on different angles. And
Oh,
we had,
wow.
yeah, it looks like the Black Knight satellite, but in the middle it looks like a rib cage, the way it's like intertwined like this. And it has a big, bright, glowing ball on the bottom of it. Okay.
Oh,
And so another craft came during the day, and that had a different shape, but it had a glowing ball attached to it, and it's on an
Wow.
arm. Then I think maybe this is a power source for certain types of crafts. It's
Hmm.
really cool. So we have all that. You don't have to be our friend to be on Facebook with us. You can just look. We have it public, so you can go through all that, or anybody can go through all that.
Yeah,
But
I saw your fairy video. That was amazing.
it was cool. It really was. Um, I I wonder if they're protectors, maybe. I've heard they can be tricksters or protectors,
Mhm.
or
right.
but I do want to know more about it. I do. It was so. It's a lot to take in when you don't believe something, then all of a sudden you see it with your own eyes.
Right.
Right.
But
Well, I
I mean,
mean, elementals, I mean, fairies are part of the elementals,
yeah,
and there's a bunch of different elementals, and there's a bunch of different
Mhm.
fairies. I mean, people normally think of growing up watching Disney and you see Tinkerbell, that kind, but they're not all like that. There's
but
different different sizes, there's different shapes and different, I don't know how to explain it, but other than that, so if you see a fairy, it might not be something that looks like Tinkerbell, or if you see it in real life and it really presents itself in its true form, it might not look like what we imagine.
Hmm.
Yeah. I
And there's
always,
probably good and bad too.
oh, sure, definitely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. When I was little and my favorite place to go by myself was this little river called Herring Run Park. And I'd, lay on the rocks or play in the water or whatever. But I always would see the grass, like something was bouncing off the grass, but I couldn't see anything. It wasn't
Hmm.
bugs or nothing. But wherever I would go around me, the grass was like kind of like something was bouncing off of it. And I always wondered, is that like an invisible fairy? I don't know.
Well, getting back to your UFO with the ball on the bottom of it, we were told by a good friend, Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot, that certain Sasquatches have a blue ball on a belt, or they have a blue ball like an energy source or like a time travel to be able to use it for portals. So I wonder if that UFO and Sasquatch that has a blue ball are connected somehow.
I've never heard about that, but that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, actually. I've never seen a Sasquatch or Bigfoot, but from people that I know who have, they always saw orb lights around them. And
I've heard that too. Yeah, orbs are connected with Sasquatch a lot.
right, and this was from people that weren't into paranormal, but they went out hunting and saw it by accident. I mean,
Mm.
um, I think the light could be a portal opener or helps them be here. I do. Look, this world is a lot stranger than what we're told. Honestly,
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen twice in my life portals open. Once in real life, once on our camera's back, and in the backyard, it was in the sky, and it was a black circle, and all of a sudden, it had a light fling around the outside of it, and then a light shot out the center of the black hole,
Mm.
and then it just closed. Um, and then what I saw in person, my parents had got a house. I was, I guess, 17, 18, and I was in the basement with my room, and I was about to go to bed, and all of a sudden there was a really bright light, bright as the sun, little light on the wall, and then it grew up and down, really long and narrow, and a shadow person, a shadow man, slid out of it, slid across the wall into the pitch black room, and then all of a sudden the light went whoop and then went into the wall.
Oh wow.
And I think it might have been more alienish than spirit, because I passed out and went to, I didn't pass out from fear. I went to sleep automatically after I saw it. And so with aliens, when I have experiences with them, I call it alien Xanax, is where I'm numb completely. I don't talk about it. I don't research it. It just, and I don't remember anything after it. And so, like, if I saw a craft in person twice, and I had missing time afterwards, but I also remember
Mm.
I'm numb. So when I saw the
Right.
shadow person, it numbed me. I mean, it might be
Wow.
interdimensional. I don't know, but that
Well,
was
these aliens, you always see the videos, whether it's in the movies or somebody else's recreation, where all of a sudden you see like their eyelids start to close, like they're going to sleep, the person
Mm.
being abducted. So I'm assuming they have some kind of sleep paralysis or able to do that. So you don't know what's going on. And, Sasquatch, people talk about the ultra waves that they'll knock you out even if you're too close. They'll make you sick, and you get mind fog, and you can't really figure out where you're at and try to get back, and if you keep getting closer and closer to them, then they finally just knock you out.
right. And also, this is a good point that if they can do that, then we shouldn't be scared of them, because they could do anything if they can do that, and they don't
Right.
go out of their way to hurt people. So
Right.
a lot of people have fear of these topics, and they shouldn't. I know they have more power than we do because we're taught not to have. I believe we do have power, but we're taught not to use it or to know about it. But
Right.
yeah, I think they mingle with us. They kind of stay in their own spot, but I don't think they're dangerous really, unless they're provoked.
Well, they could be depending on what species or what they're here for. I mean,
Yeah.
most of them that interact with us, I think, are here to help us. I mean, just like Barney and Betty Hill. I mean, they both had two completely different experiences. Barney had a horrible experience, with being abducted and experimented on, whereas Betty said she remembers a great time because she's always wanted a great experience being in a spaceship flying around, and that's the experience she got. Now, whether they implanted that in her head or that really happened, but
Right.
it's just like our lives. You can be a happy person and expect good things to happen and have a great day, or you can be an Eeyore and be down all the time. And guess what you're going to get? You're going to attract negativity.
Yep.
That's true. That is very true. I do believe that. And I've had experiences since I was a little girl, but I never spoke about them until a year and a half ago, since I've been with Bob. And so I've been public for a year and a half. But it's interesting. I feel like a lot of things I talk about, I honestly thought they were just strange dreams. Really.
Mhm.
They put that in your mind like this is just a dream, it's not real, but it was always odd to me because I'd wake up with bruises where in my dream they were touching me or whatever. And then when I shared it with Bob, he's like, this happens to a lot of people. It's just something, I think it's maybe a safety precaution. I don't know if it's a safety precaution for them so that we don't know more or what. But that's one of the things I'd like to talk about because there's a lot of people that go through these things that really never figure it out their
Right.
whole life. So this is what we talk about a lot too.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird you hear of people's experiences where, they don't remember anything happening on the ship or anything, or they kind of know that they're getting out of their bed or they're floating above their bed, but then they have no recollection until they come back to their bed. But then you have other people experiences. Well, yeah, I was in the ship and I saw it and they showed me stuff. And it's like, I don't know if it's maybe you have to be at a certain consciousness or higher vibration and they don't feel like you're a threat to them, so they start to show you stuff or give out information, or I don't know how that works either.
Yeah, this is what I want. As I talk about it publicly, I'm also learning about it because, like I said, I have an implant from them in my leg. It shouldn't be there. I never had surgery. I never fell. I mean, I can't feel it, but I saw it on a metal detector in the airport. And that was 20 years ago, 20 some years ago. It's still there. I flew recently. It's still in the same spot.
Oh,
And
wow.
I wonder, like, is this to help me or to keep track of me? Am I somebody's pet? Like you do chip a dog,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right.
So I want to know more about that. But I've had dreams of me laying on a table and I could never see their faces, but I saw the rest of their body. And they were doing surgery on me, but they were only using their hands, but it wasn't bloody. And it was on my lower stomach. And someone told somebody else, don't let her see. And it flashed to me holding two boys. Now, a lot of people that I share that with, they think it's the hybridization program where you have children and stuff. I don't know. I'm a mama bear, so that kind of pisses me off in general, if that's true. I try to, I'm still fighting with that part of my brain, like, is this real or not? Because growing up, my mom was a normal, she had a master's in psychology, and my dad, he was an experiencer and a Reiki healer. So I still am battling with those two parts. But I think this was in the family I hear that they stick with certain families and they do it to your grandparent, your parent, you. And we're all O negative bloodlines, so I kind of think that might be a thing too. But I can't find anything out about it.
Yeah, I've heard of. Well, I think Dr. Wu from Paranormal Highway I think he's talked about the blood types and certain people that are extraterrestrial or related somehow, that they like certain blood types.
Yeah, if you Google it, it's either you're a fallen angel, an alien, or I mean, that's pretty much it. There's not much. And, scientists, they know everything. They research everything. You mean to tell me they haven't researched about O negative blood? You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
They just don't want people to know.
that's true.
So we have a friend, or I've personally have talked with somebody online for like 2 hours, and she went through being harvested babies and all that stuff, and she actually can it's not really mind speak, it's kind of more of a telepathy, that she knows where he's at and he knows where she's at, and they kind of talk back and forth that way, and he's off planet in another solar system.
Really? I would love to. I'd never even thought to do that, honestly. I wonder why are they trying to create like a superhuman, or why? I wonder why they do that.
I think, me personally, my opinion is that they do this to help them for like stuff that they can't do, whether, the human mind is this technically advanced, as if you're able to use your full mind. And I think that's what they're gearing towards. And there's DNA in us that they would like to have for their race, to keep them alive and their generations going. And so I think it's a mixture of both kind of things, us helping them and them kind of helping us.
That makes sense. It does. I've heard some people think that maybe they don't have souls and we do, so we can bounce from body vessel to body vessel. I mean, and and maybe they can. Maybe they want to do something with our energy, or the soul energy. There's all kinds of stuff. I would love to really figure it out, but we're never gonna in this lifetime.
Right.
I mean, gee, it is so protected. It's just, I don't think there's going to be a disclosure. I don't think there's going to be a public government disclosure. I think maybe us regular people might find out one day more information on our own, because they choose to tell us. But,
I mean, through the grassroots movement, we already know, everybody has their feelings and opinions or whatever resonates with them. I mean, me and Jane, we see stuff moving in the sky, and we try to look up whether they're satellites or whatever, Elon Musk's Starlink, all that stuff, and we can't find it. But we just know, you have that feeling. Okay, I think that's a UFO or a spacecraft, or even with cryptids or paranormal stuff. I mean, it's the same way. You just resonate, and you just get that feeling, and that frequency or vibration comes into you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Your instincts tell you, absolutely.
I was going to tell you, speaking of when we were talking about that lady we talked to about her child being off planet, she also mentioned that from an early age, they put them through school, not like our schools, but this is like like using your mind and telepathy and levitation and just like all the science. And so, I mean, they're far beyond these hybrids, or if you want to call them hybrids, half humans and aliens. They're way beyond anything we're capable of doing in our human bodies, in our dimension we're in now.
That's interesting. My friend John Carpenter, he worked under Bigelow for a long time, and he's a psychologist. But he told me that he would work with psychic children and people, and he does hypnosis too. The children that were abducted, the aliens did teach them more about their psychic abilities and moving objects and things like that.
Right.
And the kids that were abducted were more psychic, actually. So they think it was because of them being taught this. It's interesting. He also told me that, can I say government, or should I say gov? What do you want?
It doesn't matter.
The government knows how to make portals. That's amazing. I didn't know that.
I believe it.
Oh yeah. It's
Mhm.
interesting. I would love to go through a portal. I mean, honestly, I anyway.
The only thing that we've heard is that some people, if they haven't raised their vibrations or frequencies or their higher consciousness, that portal may change your DNA if you go through it. So it could be harmful.
Yeah, no thanks. I don't want. I swear I swear I don't have proof, but I think there's a portal on the wall above our bed because
Mm.
the orbs shoot out of the same spot, and I mean like 20 at a time will shoot out and then
Wow.
go back into the same part of the wall and disappear. And they don't do that anywhere else in the room. So I
Right.
think we might have one, but I just haven't picked it up on camera yet.
Hmm.
So my only question about portals, if that's true, where it could be harmful to humans, us now, if we
Mhm.
haven't raised our vibrations, because I think portals are generated or created to match people's frequencies and vibrations, so they can go in it all day long. Alien species, because it's already set up to match their frequencies. But us who haven't experienced that yet, or don't have, it's not set up for us.
Mhm.
I'm just wondering if it's a good idea
Mm.
to try to go through it.
I believe you. I do. When a couple years ago, I lost my mom, and my mom and dad the same year, and then a year later, my boyfriend of 15 years to cancer. And I really didn't have anybody to talk to because I'm shy, so I kind of keep to myself. And my energy was low, really low. And the things that happened around me scared me. I mean, I saw water boil up from the floor and then disappear, boxes stacked each other to block the doorway.
Hmm.
I woke up from sleeping with nobody in the house to something, being sexual with me. Um, I, I would have this dream of like this pure white-eyed male. It looked like a man, but it had pure white eyes, and it would stalk my dream. After my dad died, it started to stalk my dreams.
Hmm.
It's just the weirdest things were happening, and I think because I was so sad, which sucks. I mean, you shouldn't. I didn't want to have to deal with grief and all the other crap, but they
Right.
do. These things just come. It's like they're almost like they're waiting for you to drop your energy. It's
Mm-hmm.
weird.
They feed off of it.
Yeah, they do.
Mhm.
I have a theory, honestly. So before each one of my family passed, a couple months before they did, I'd have a UFO or craft sighting. So like a couple months before my dad passed, I was in Florida visiting them, and we were taking out the trash, and over top their house, these things were so close they could have touched the roof, but they were like 4 foot round, bright orange orbs. There were five of them
Mm.
that appeared one at a time and went into a V shape. And I go, Dad, do you see this? And me and him were like best friends, okay? And he looked up right at him, and he robotically said no, turned around, went to the house. He would have never done that. So I
Hmm.
think the aliens annexed him to go in the house. And I looked back up at them, and one by one they disappeared. But then I don't remember going in the house, finishing the trash. I don't remember anything, just me waking up the next day. And we never talked about it. So but so like, other things happen. I think they were warning me because I'd also have a dream saying, tell your dad you love him, or tell your mom you love him, or tell your boyfriend. So they would warn me. Um, and then after someone would die, weird, paranormal, creepy, negative stuff would happen. So, like, it was just strange. The aliens were helpful, and whatever this entity was bad. But my parents' neighbor, a couple months before my parents passed, the neighbor shot himself in the head and killed him. And my parents started having creepy paranormal stuff happen. I think
Wow.
something was doing this. I really do.
Hmm.
And when I tell people, I don't tell many people about this, but when I do, it's like they think I'm nuts. But the stuff that happened shouldn't have happened. It was just weird. Anyway.
Right.
Right. I mean, I mean, we talked about shadow people and all that stuff. I personally haven't ever seen one, but I have seen glimpses out of the sides of my eyes.
Mhm,
Now, whether that was a shadow or something that's kind of presenting itself to me, and I think Jane have seen them, and you've
mhm.
talked about it, and I mean that's a whole nother realm,
Yeah,
shadow people, and
and you look over, there's nothing there, but you swear that you see something there, like someone's coming down the hallway or next to you, and you look, there's nothing there.
Right. And actually, you reminded me when I was at my after my dad died. My mom had a master's. She was very smart, but she was physically handicapped. So I went to Florida after he passed to help her until she got help. And I was in the garage. It was daylight, and this shadow person flung from under the garage. The garage doors were open and slid across the ceiling and dropped behind me. And
Mm.
my big ass dropped to the ground. If a big girl is dropped to the ground, there's an issue. You know what I mean? Like it was crazy. But the shadow person I saw years ago, it was only from the belly button up. It had no legs. This
Hmm.
one had legs. It was a full human or full human shape. But
right.
it gave me the creepiest feeling. It was just
Wow.
I don't know what was there at that place, you know?
You know, the other weird thing is you think you're in a dark room or where you can't really see anything, but the shadow person is even darker than that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that's what's weird. You can be in a complete, you can't even see the hand in front of your face, but you can see that shadow or that dark entity.
Yes.
Hmm. I've
Absolutely.
heard several people say that.
Oh yeah. I don't know what they are. I don't. I don't think they're that. I don't think they're good intentions. I don't know. Maybe there's some good
No, I
intentions.
mean, we I tend to believe that they're more along the demonic or demon side or the dark side because they're usually coming when, like you said, you're down, you're depressed, or you got a lot of stuff going on, or
Mhm.
you're physically ill, where your immunities and stuff is just like at its lowest. It seems like that's when they come in. I don't know. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's just my impression.
That's why I keep telling our chat and everyone, keep your vibrations high.
Yes.
Because
Absolutely.
if you get low, I mean, it just pulls you in.
Oh yeah. And you know what's strange? So I go on TikTok, but whatever. Um, but I look at all kind of like paranormal or makeup or cooking. But I've noticed in the background, a lot of people are getting shadow people and don't even know it. So I'll screenshot.
Mm.
It's there's more activity. And my friend Lon Strickler, he gets cases where he has to help people, and he told me he's like this year there's been so many cases of
Mm.
cryptids and paranormal, like all everything. He thinks something is changing. He
I,
does.
I think the veil is not even thinning anymore. I think the veil's cracking open.
Yep, I do. I agree. I
You,
do. Yeah.
and I think the third and fourth, if it's blending, we're starting to see more. And, maybe that's why the orb activity and the sky fit, I mean, all this is increasing.
Yep.
Even the stuff up in the sky. I'm just now starting to get out there at night because it's warm enough. And I got
Yeah.
my psionics out for the first time the other day and put it on the tripod. And yeah, the activity, I mean, it just seems like everything's increasing.
Absolutely. I mean, I like conspiracies. I think maybe CERN has something to do with it because
Yeah.
Right.
they mess with stuff and you never know what they're getting. You don't. And I also
Hmm.
believe in the Mandela effect, and that's how I found out about.
Yeah.
There are things I swear to God I remember differently. Like I used to
Hmm.
be a skateboarder, and I'd always get Sketcher sneakers, and it had a
Hmm.
freaking T in that Skechers. It did because
Yes.
when I was younger, I had OCD and I would type words with my toes, whatever. It was a bad habit. Anyway, and I remember it had a T. I would type it out. And then one day I got my son a little pair of shoes. It wasn't there. I Googled it. It was never there, supposedly. It's just weird.
Right.
So I don't know. Sorry.
Well, see, that's the same thing with Fruit of the Looms and all these other companies. They said, no, we've never had the cornucopia fruit. Well, then
Hmm.
somebody somehow actually found a logo on a piece of clothing that actually had that.
Right. Right.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, we know we've seen it. It's imprinted in our mind. You know, growing up, we've seen these symbols, so we know what they are. And now all of a sudden, they're not the same.
I know Skechers had a T. I had plantar fasciitis many years ago, and I did finally learn. I tried Dr. Scholl's on all these inserts, and I learned years ago that Skechers is one of the shoes that will take care of it. And that's the only thing that I wear is Skechers, and so does Gerald, because he ended up having it. And they had that arch support. I know it had a T in it. So yeah, I'm with you. That was one of the mandala effects. And I also remember Ed McMahon would publish a house clearinghouse, with the big giant check. They say he never did that. He claims he never went to houses with that giant check. They claim that publish a clearinghouse was never there, never real. I remember getting those things in the mail almost every year.
My mom did all the time.
Yeah. They're saying it never happened. Yeah, Ed McMahon, he said, I didn't do that.
Sometimes I think maybe we can switch back and forth to different dimensions, or we go to different ones that are more similar to what we're used to. But I know a couple years ago, I remember I looked up at the moon, and I didn't see the normal moon face that we all see, right? And I kept checking every night, and I didn't see it. And I Googled the moon face. Not one freaking thing was on Google about it, except one person drew it. It was one drawing. And so a month goes by, and I see the face again, and I Googled it. It's back on Google. That's weird. I don't know what's going on.
Gerald experienced that too. That's when he was working. He's retired now, but he came home and he says, the faces, what was it? It was turned, or it was totally different.
It wasn't the face no more.
Yeah.
It was something completely different. And it was an egg-shaped moon instead of a regular moon. And all the way home, I'm sitting there looking, because I always look at the sky and look in the fields, because I take the countryways back home. Mm-hmm. And it's like the moon was completely different that night. I mean, it was weird. So I told Jane, I said, come on, look at the moon. It's weird.
Yep.
But then like a week later or so, we look up and went, well, the face is back.
Right. It's almost like something notices that we notice, and they're like, oh crap, change it back. I don't know what the hell is going on, and I feel like it's changing more often as I get older. Unless the internet's making us more aware because people can connect. But I don't know. I always picked up things as a kid, but I didn't pick up stuff like I pick up now.
Right.
Changing. So.
Well, have you ever thought of the parallel world? Could that be it? The parallel world is blending in with us, or multiverse. Different timeline, multiverse. Just, are they blending? I also heard the first time CERN kicked on that we totally got annihilated and we moved over to the parallel world. So now some people remember GIF, some people remember Jiffy. All that. I don't know. That mandala effect I don't understand it. It's just so odd.
You guys are the first people. There's one of my friend Phil, but most people think I'm crazy. I'm telling you this. For real. I am on page with you. It's just weird. And I remember around the CERN time, wasn't there Comet Ison going around the sun? They were afraid it was going to hit into the sun, or something. It was some comet, right?
Yeah.
And I tracked that crap. I was like on it, right? And I remember the next day I wake up and my dad was reading the newspaper, and he goes, the comet went around. It didn't hit it. No, it said the comet went around or something like that. And I go, no, it didn't, because I watched something live. And the next day he read the newspaper. He goes, oh, the newspaper made a mistake. The comet actually did this. And I thought, no, this is freaking weird. Like, they can tell, and they change things for us, like the Truman Show, man. It's crazy. But after that, that's when things started to change. When the CERN thing happened, life got different.
Yeah. And all the mandala effects started, and then it just seemed like it's getting worse and worse. It's in music. It's in not just movies, but it's in music. It's in the Bible verses are gone different. I know for a fact many sermons of the lion lay down with the lamb. Everyone has this painting. The lion lies down with the lamb. You look that scripture up, it says wolf lies down with the lamb. And I'm going, no, my maiden name is Wolf, and I love wolves. And I know for a fact, I think there's only one scripture that says, wolves in sheep clothing. Yeah. It was not that verse. That changed.
Exactly. No, you're right. My mom would get that Christmas card and a big pack and send it to all her friends. And
it was not the wolf lie down with the lamb. It was the lion lie down with the lamb. Right. Yeah.
And I wonder, how some letters are missing and some things like that are changed. I wonder if we're supposed to write these things down and decode it. Maybe it's a message. Because why would they take one freaking letter from something? It's just
right.
So I think if somebody started decoding it, I think it would spell something out to us. I really do.
Might be. Maybe it's all part of the crop circles, and they all match somehow.
Yes, I think crop circles, the true ones, I think that they're trying to tell us something. I think the government knows what that something is. I really do. Why else would they slowly trinkle information about or like dangle the alien thing in front of us? Because they don't have to. They don't.
Right.
They don't have to. So there's a reason why they're doing this slowly. I just don't know what it is.
All right. This just came to me, and I don't know where it came from. I've never ever thought of this before.
No,
you
not
remember
again.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind when they used the musical notes to communicate with the aliens or the spaceship?
Yeah.
What if crop circles are really supposed to be in a musical note? If you can somehow use it to make notes or frequencies, maybe that's a communication and it would open up something.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Yeah. I believe because that is how a lot of them communicate like that. They do. That's interesting. And it would be kind of hidden, so not everybody would get the information.
Right.
That makes sense.
I don't know how you would turn those symbols into frequencies or musical notes, but for some reason it just came to me, and I made it from Close Encounters to the crop circle symbols be turned into music or some kind of frequency.
That does make sense, because what I've been doing this past week, I got 2 or 3 different singing bowls, and I'm going outside. I'm doing just one, and I'm just singing it, and then I stop to see if I hear anything in the neighborhood, and there is a certain tone that the coyotes will start going off.
Really?
If they're coyotes, because Sasquatch does mimic coyotes, and I do hear whoop whoop whoops in with the yip yip yips and the howls. And then I do the different note, and I stop. There was nothing. So I'm trying different tones and frequencies to see if, and I'll be looking up to see if there's anything that's showing up above me too. So that's what I'm doing this summer, is trying different frequencies to, what effects I can get afterwards.
I want to try that. I didn't even think of that.
And different tuning forks. That's another one. I do different tuning forks out there.
I didn't know that Bigfoot went into the shape of a coyote, because I had an experience a couple years ago. I dreamed that a coyote this is at the old house I used to live at a couple years ago. A coyote was in my dream on my back porch. And for some reason, it made me nervous. Well, I'm from Maryland. We don't have coyotes here where I'm at, right?
Okay.
And so the dream made me a little nervous. So I woke up, and at the time I smoked cigarettes, and I went out back, and I opened the back door. The same coyote was on my back porch looking at me. We looked at each other, and it ran off, because my backyard was a state forest park. And it ran off. And I never understood what the message was supposed to be. It was just
yeah, I've heard from several people they like running with the coyotes, and we've been here 20 years. I know what the coyotes yip and bark, but when you hear the little whoop whoop whoops with it, darn well there's Sasquatch with them, and it's not just coyotes that you're hearing. So I'm just going to keep trying with these different tones, and
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to open
So,
up a portal or anything, but I just want to kind of see if I hear whoops or howls or anything, whistles, anything that will respond back to me.
so if you go with Native American lore or their spoken history that they pass on, that their elders or their spirit people will come in and they will take shapes of coyotes, bears, eagles. I mean, all animals.
Yeah.
And they also say that coyotes are watchers and other animals are watchers, and they will come to you in real life in that form. And then you will have a dream. And if you keep dreaming or concentrating on that, you will get a message, or they will tell you something.
Oh,
So it's
Hmm.
almost like your spirit animal, but this is in a different realm or a different
Hmm.
aspect than your guides.
I believe it because it came when it was right after my dad passed and the weird creepy stuff started happening. That's when it showed up, and I
Hmm.
didn't know if it was a warning or what, but it was. I mean, I have had psychic dreams, and like a month later, my something will happen. It's usually a warning, but I've never had
Right.
a dream of an animal that I've never seen before, and then it's out in my backyard. That's amazing. I didn't know that. Thank you.
The girls had some weird animal dreams.
Uh, yeah. It's always animals. I don't ever really have,
Yeah.
well, I mean, I do have human dreams or, of other people in it, but it's usually always animals or the weird ones or the ones that really I pay attention to.
I don't
Hmm.
know. I think I guess they're just protecting us, maybe, or something. I don't know. I have no idea. But this is stuff I want to learn about. It's
Yeah.
just, it's hard because, well, I kept everything to myself for a long time until recently. But still, even in the paranormal or alien community, sometimes if you say too much of what you've experienced, they go,
Right.
you're a little loony. And it blows my mind. I'm like, really? So I kind of contain it and let little bits at a time. But I can make a freaking movie with the crap that's happened. It's crazy.
Hmm.
It really is.
Absolutely. I mean, everybody has these experiences, whether they acknowledge them or not, or even they even realize that they're having them.
Right.
Everybody has these experiences. It just depends on if you're open or if you're awake yet to these experiments and walk through the door and raise your vibrations. And as
Yeah.
soon as you have that first one, you start to acknowledge it, then all these other things, these other possibilities start opening up to you. Whether you might be just into paranormal, but then all of a sudden you might start having cryptids or UFOs. I mean, it's all
Mhm.
connected, it's all related. It's just that you have to open your mind to accept this data or these frequencies that come to you to open up your mind.
Yeah.
Right.
I love reading about cryptids. For some reason, it's always scared me a little bit. So I've never experienced a true cryptid. Although, werewolves really freak me out the most out of any movie monster. And that's the one freaking cryptid that Lon said is spiked the highest, is the wolf scanner. And it's
Oh.
near me. It's in the Pennsylvania area. I mean, of course, the thing I hate the most is now, hanging out more.
Right. Yep.
Um, but I remember, I don't think I've told anybody this, but years ago, I never felt like this was home ever really. And I would almost get like homesick for some reason, and I never knew why.
Mm.
So right before bed, I looked up at the stars and I said, where am I from? Where is my true family? And that night I had a dream and it said M56. And so I
Oh,
woke up and I looked it up, and that's when I learned about the Lyrans and Palladians. I didn't know about this stuff.
Mm.
It's interesting. I had no clue this was a thing. And so they do listen. I think anybody, like you said, if you speak with your heart,
Mhm.
they will respond eventually. They will.
so
They-
the Palladians supposedly are the ones that sent us all here to colonize Earth, whether we know it or not. And
Right.
majority of star seeds are Palladians. There's other races, there's other alien races that
Mhm.
you'll find them here on Earth, but the majority are Palladians, I believe, that we all come from that star system.
I wonder what happened that they did this. Did their planet, was there a war or did something
Well,
happen?
there's the
The
Orion
Orion
Wars.
War. Hmm.
Oh, I don't know about any. What is that? What happened?
Well, it's because part of the Galactic Federation. You'll have, yeah, it's a rabbit hole. You'd have to look it all up. But if you just type in,
It's almost
if
like
you
the
just,
movie. We had Star Wars. Yeah, there was battles, and
Huh.
Orion War was, pretty big. So yeah, that
if
movie
you
is
just
based
do
on it.
Palladian
Exciting.
and Orion Wars, you'll start finding some
I'm
stuff.
gonna look that up. Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, because I've been an experiencer all my life, but I never looked into it because whatever they would do to me. So this is all still. I'm learning all kinds of stuff, honestly.
I think
And
we're
it's
all learning. There's no experts out there. We're all learning, and it's our own opinion, and you know, just
I mean,
share each other's experiences. That's what I enjoy. But nobody's an expert. It's just I wish we knew. I mean,
no,
really
I mean
do.
we just have a few years on you. We've been going down rabbit holes for a long time.
yeah. It's fun. I mean, I do love this because I'm a shy, kind of boring person, so it's kind of put a little bit of excitement in my in my life. Honestly, I don't mind it. So,
I mean, just like talking about starseed children, or if you watch the movie X-Men, where they have the college and they're training these starseeds, these children, and they all have different abilities. Well,
mhm.
guess what? We talked about that earlier about the aliens having kids in schools, and guess what abilities they're teaching them.
Hmm.
Some of them might have the ability for fire or water, or all the elementals.
Mhm.
And so all these movies are soft disclosure or red pills. This a lot of this is really true to life. We just don't experience it necessarily in our realm or our current timeline, but there's other galaxies and planets out there that are experiencing and have these abilities that we haven't unlocked for ourselves yet.
Well, we've been dumbed down.
Mhm. Very, very much. And I have heard that they legally have to tell us the truth, so they do it in movies or books.
Right.
But they make it seem like it's a fantasy. So technically, they're telling the truth, or. Um, but I believe that they mess with our water, our food, our air, and they put
Hmm.
extra stressors on. The news is just trauma galore and
Right.
hatred. And I think it's just they try to bog us down so that we don't see what's the real world or how truly wonderful we really are. Oh God, is something going on?
I mean that's just it. If you tune in to the major media and you listen to all this disasters and woes and worries and killings, well, guess what that does? It lowers your vibration. So you're
Yeah,
not open. You're not open anymore. If that's all you're taking in is all this bad stuff, you're not open anymore to raising your vibration or receiving stuff from downloads from the ether or from your higher consciousness, or
true.
however you're getting this. Your guides even will shut off from you for a while if you take all this in.
It's true. I mean, look, I get addicted to TikTok sometimes, and it makes me, it walls off all the energies around me. But when I go sit outside and I look at the stars, that's when I get messages. So
Yep.
I feel like they make these phones and these televisions on purpose to not only get our attention but drain our energy. And I think everything's made for a reason, and it's not to help us. I know that sounds horrible,
Hmm.
you know, uh, and I don't know who I want to. Well, I don't want to find out. I want to live, but there's got to be something else going on besides humans and their greed. I feel like there's something else in charge with not wanting us to know what we're really about. And I
Right.
think they're in cahoots with humans because there's a lot of people that have my lab experiences. And
Hmm.
that's, you know, And
Yep.
that's a touchy subject. People don't like talking about that at all. So I don't know. I know Melinda. Oh, I forgot. She's our friend. I forgot her name. Whatever. I'm going to see her in a couple of days. Melinda Leslie. She's had my lab experiences a lot, but she remembers being taught to fly the ship. I mean, she does tours where they come out for her. So she's really in touch, but also the government's she's on a little watch list. So I think they take her with,
we have friends just like you do. It's been involved in the Montauk project and all that stuff, and absolutely they track you. The government knows exactly who they are and who's been through the project and who's going to be going through their projects, whether it's a 20 and back program or any of that stuff, and it's all still going on.
Yeah.
It's just not out in the open. I mean, we talk about the past stuff, from the Philadelphia experiment and Montauk project and all that stuff, but there's stuff going on right now where they're experimenting and doing all this stuff and putting people in these secret space programs, but we just don't know about it until they regain their memories and people start talking about their experiences from our current generations.
Absolutely. I do. And there's one other conspiracy I like. It's about the ice fall. And
oh yeah,
I'm telling you, I think there's something to it. I really do. It's interesting.
We did a show on Jessica. She was here in chat earlier. She's got her show tonight, but we were on hers and we did flat Earth, and not just a typical flat Earth, but the one where all the islands outside the ice wall were like
Crater Earth. You should look up Crater Earth. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So we did a show on that, and she's still getting comments today. And this has been a long time ago that we did that. Like a year ago, we did that show. She's still getting
did these old maps
we did with her.
And one place is called Mars, one place is called Pleiades. So you also kind of have to think like, okay, so is it actually past the ice wall and not up there in the sky?
Dude. Okay.
And are they going to portals and stargates to like, okay, we're going to Mars, but it's not really the planet Mars. It's past the ice wall Mars.
Right.
So you don't know.
You guys are the first ones to talk about this. There's a guy on the internet and he calls it Crater Earth. He thinks wherever we live is much bigger and that we're in one crater and then there's an ice wall and then there's another one that's Mars, another one, and it's interesting. And you're right. There are older maps that have these things. And then, Admiral Byrd saw something. And
right.
It's strange. But he talked about a torus. I didn't understand. It's like the way the energy moves. There's something about a torus. You have to look at
the hollow earth. Yeah. I mean, one thing he found was there's the North Pole and South Pole. We just don't get the northern lights. I heard the southern lights too, that it comes out of those holes and he, experienced a little bit of the inner earth.
Yeah. And like,
that something about the magnet, it goes, differently because of the holes.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And like
donut shaped.
Yes, exactly. And also when you look up pictures of those spots, they're pixeled over a lot.
Right.
And also, I've heard that we've never had a whole picture of Earth. And NASA literally said that they crop pictures together to create a whole picture of Earth. That's just something's wrong.
Well, even the depiction on a globe that we've had as a child in grade school, that's not actually what the Earth looks like. That's not actually the sizes of each continent. I mean, there's some of them are bigger, some of them are smaller than what's actually portrayed on our maps. And I don't know why they did it that way, if they had to, or if they're just lying to us.
So I hope as the years go on that we find out more and more things about it. Because I would love to be able to travel over the ice wall and see what's there. Because when we get visited by aliens, like you said, are they just going through
Right.
portals or flying over the ice wall? Like maybe they're not from other places; they're from here, and we're captured in this little spot. Who knows?
And if you look at that map, if you can find a good copy of it, you'll also see mythological islands and places that we thought were dismissed or made up, and then yet here it is on this map.
Right. And
Yeah, well, so different creatures and different, well, like what was the blemmies? The headless people, the eyes and
Right.
everything are on the chest. Those little blemmies. If they were real, they were on those maps.
Jessica, too, about that map.
Yeah.
The old world map, and all these, like, you had dragons on them, you had dogmen on them, you had Bigfoot on them. They weren't called that. But that's what they were depicted on this map as being, and there were all certain regions on this map where you would come across them.
You know what? You're right. They do have little drawings of these. Oh my God! I don't want a dog.
Sea serpents.
No thanks. No. But yeah, and there's been video of, I believe it. There's someone captured a dragon looking like something flying in the mountains, and I believe,
Yeah.
I do. I know Andy Codes. He saw something that I saw, which I didn't know. I thought I was losing my mind. Honestly, I swear to God, I looked up in the sky during the day. I thought it was a plane, like a small plane. And then it started flapping its wings, and then it had a long tail. And it flew to the government base I used to live next to, which, by the way, that base had a lot of alien stuff, like public. You could see this stuff happening there. And it flew into it. And I was getting gas and I left. I thought I was losing my mind, but I swear to God, I saw this thing. It was crazy.
We're hearing more reports of dragons. Yeah.
We have lots of friends that have had pterodactyl, if you want to call them thunderbirds or however you want to term them. They've had those sightings and close up and personal. I mean, not just seeing them in the sky, but they've actually seen them land or close enough where they can actually see their shape and stuff. And then we were talking to somebody, me and Jane, where their dad, I believe it was their dad, actually saw a dragon flying.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't a mistake of a big giant bird or anything. This was like a real dragon flying in the air.
And he was scared, and she got on her phone. She started recording it, saying, "Okay, Dad, what did you see?" And I heard the video, and this is a few years ago, and he said, "This was a dragon. I saw it close up," and he had described it and everything. And he said, "I know this was a dragon."
I believe it. I believe most, if not all, mythological stories or folk stories are based from truth. I think there was some type of vampires and dragons, and obviously we know the werewolves. I mean, I think these are all true, and I think they're still around. I wonder if maybe the power lines keep them from coming in so much, maybe, and I don't know. There's something going on.
That could be.
So, but I think they're still around. I do. I honestly do.
Right. And like we talked about earlier in the show, the veil's thinning, and maybe we're starting to see dragons again and all this stuff that once was here, or maybe they went away for a while because we couldn't handle it, or it wasn't time for them to be back. But now it is. Maybe they're starting to come back for a purpose.
What about inner earth? If they all went in the inner earth, like elves, gnomes, fairies, all of them, is something going on in inner earth, or is the veil thinning that they were trapped in the inner earth and the veil's thinning? Are they starting to come out of caves? And, is that why we're starting to see them a little more now? But interesting.
I believe it. I do. I really do. Because look, we're trapped in a way, and a lot of us don't even realize it. And when we realize it, we don't know how to get untrapped. It's just there's a hold on us for some reason. There is. Speaking of orbs, real quick, I wanted to share a story. Do we have time for?
Oh yeah.
We have plenty of time.
Okay, this is the first time I realized that UFOs or aliens could morph into orbs. Like I said, I live next to. It was a government base. What was it? Martin State Airport, right? And it's all gated off. And this was like maybe a block from my house. And the next to it was Lockheed Martin. So they were connected. Anyway, one day it's daylight, I'm driving down the road and I see a helicopter just hovering, and then I see a bunch of these bright lights, like little round bright lights flickering in and out, and I'm like, what is this? Am I losing my mind? And they kept showing up, and there was one larger one and then little ones around it. And this helicopter was following these orbs. And it's like they wanted to get it back into the base. It was really strange. And so I decided to keep circling. I mean, I started following this helicopter for like an hour, right? And it didn't go far. It really just stayed. It hovered over our road, and I kept turning around, and the helicopter got so low to my car, it shoved my car a little bit off the road from the air or whatever.
Wow.
It was awesome. It was great. I mean, at the time I thought it was awesome. And so I backed off it, and it started to move because they started to move. And I remember I saw a man. No, there were other two helicopters in the distance that wouldn't come close, and they were a different color. I think one was white and one was a different color. And this one was black that was following it. And at one point I saw a man standing in the open way of the helicopter, and he was holding on to something big. It looked like a big bazooka, but it was bolted to the floor of the helicopter. And they were pointing something at these orbs, but nothing came out of this thing. So I'd never seen anything like it before. But eventually I left. I went home. But that just blew my mind. It was so interesting that they were, we're taught that the government isn't interested in orbs. Yeah, they are. They very much are. So
I can't tell you how many times I see an airplane, and if you look around, the airplane, you'll see something following it or going in front of it or behind it. They'll flash and power up. And I'm in the backyard just giggling, going, these pilots see these things all the time. They just aren't allowed to say anything because I've got it on film. I mean, I've got videos. If you can see the little things following along or just going right in front of them.
I always laugh thinking about it's a passenger plane because they follow them too.
Yeah.
So think of all the passengers on the planes that don't believe in this stuff, but yet there's one right behind them and they can't see it because they're in the plane doing watching a movie or reading a book or sleeping or whatever they're doing on a plane while they're on their trip.
Right. But that's another thing I saw at the base where I lived. An airplane was landing there, and it was a big white orb following behind it, and then behind that was a helicopter. There's always a helicopter by these crafts. I'm telling you, they get it. I don't know what type of government they are, but there's always a helicopter when there's an alien sighting. The one time I saw a very detailed craft up close, there was a helicopter. The only reason I saw the craft was because of the helicopter. My friend and I were getting coffee. We parked, and we kept seeing these red fireballs go over the car. And it started to make us nervous, so we decided I was going to drive her home. And we get on the road, and there's a big fluffy cloud. It's nighttime, and all of a sudden a helicopter comes up and shows its spotlight on the cloud. And I didn't know they hid in clouds, and I could see this thing was so big. I saw the bottom of it, and it was black metal. There were no lights, but it looked like a bunch of pipes like intertwining with each other, but the pipes were as wide as the body of the helicopter. And when I drove under it, I didn't see the sky anymore. I just saw the ship. That's how close this thing was.
Wow.
And I don't remember. I remember the detail of this thing, but I don't remember taking her home. She doesn't remember any of it. I just remember the next day. But it was so cool, and it confused me. I didn't understand why it looked like pipes were intertwined with each other on the bottom of this thing. And nobody really, I've talked to people about it. Nobody's seen that or admits to seeing that. So I don't know what those things were, honestly.
Yeah, we experience a lot of helicopters in our area, and they're black, and they're following the river because we live right next to the Illinois River. So it's going up the river or it's going down the other side of our town. And, I have heard that they are watching cryptids and, keeping an eye on them or trying to find them. So, and, they're definitely not life flight. These are black helicopters.
So, I always thought they were just looking for a criminal. When I see a helicopter now,
Nope.
Ah,
Cryptids and UFOs and all kinds of things. Yeah.
thumbs up.
that's
And when I
right.
see them, I always try to, mind speak or telepathy to anything that's around here. Like, okay, helicopter, hunker down, you guys, hide. It's coming. But they already know too. But yeah, I just get a icky bad feeling when I hear it and I go outside and I see them. I just get a bad vibe off of them when I see them.
Yes. Sometimes I think, just from our experience living here, sometimes maybe the helicopter isn't a helicopter. It's weird. Like, we have a video of the neighbor's roof. They had the crawling light, and then all of a sudden, it looked like a craft that looked like a helicopter, but didn't have the twirly thing. And it was this way, and then all of a sudden it went this way, and something the size of a body bag came from the house and went into that thing, and it disappeared.
Mm,
I swear
Wow.
our neighbor's getting abducted. I just don't have the courage to say anything to this person. You know what I mean?
right.
We rent. They could kick us. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Right.
But and then one time Bob and I were outside trying to talk to them, and the video picked up us talking, and then the next video was a helicopter, the sound of a helicopter, us not talking, and then like 10 minutes later was a video of us talking again. We don't remember us shutting up or the helicopter flying over us. So that's what makes me think, unless the government's so advanced and they can do the same things aliens can, which they probably can. It's just I don't think all of them are what we think they are exactly.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, we truly don't know necessarily what the government can and can't do and what kind of weapons they have. And I mean, they've obviously had alien technology for a long time, at least as long as since Roswell, probably before that even.
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
can they actually access it and know how to use it? Maybe not. That's probably why we have certain inventions, the telephone, the computers, the cell phones, maybe all that came out because they finally were able to decipher and figure out how this technology works. But I'm sure there's a lot that they still have that they can't engage because they don't have the right power source or they don't have the mindset to figure out how to do it. And some
Right.
spaceships, even aliens, it's a bioessence, and they have to put their hands on it and
Yeah.
connect with it. And
I was just
humans
going to
can't
say
do that
it's ran
necessarily.
by their DNA, right? And they can't control it. It's just going to sit there because
And
you
maybe they
killed
can't turn
that
on these
alien.
technologies yet.
Yeah, I do. I think you're right. I do, because one of the reasons Bob and I gave Bob. I didn't know who Bob was, but something told me to give him a reading. That's usually how it works, because I'm so shy. So a spirit comes to me, and they literally find these people for me online and pull it on my phone. This is just how it works. And anyway, I gave him the reading. He tested me a little more to make sure I was real. And then he wanted to know all the secrets on how to fly a ship. And so he doesn't anymore. That was just his, he got excited, like, ooh, I can get secret things. But they wouldn't tell me because they knew his ego, and I mean this in a kind way, his ego was asking me. And they wouldn't tell me all of the story. They'd give me bits and pieces.
Right.
But some of it was, it's your own power of, it's not just you put in a key and work it,
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And a lot of information, they give it to us as we need it. We might want to know all of it, but we don't absolutely have to have all of it at this particular time.
Right. Because humans are so, not all of humans, but a lot of humans are angry or dangerous, or not all of us are kind. And, I don't think the aliens want us to have all of the answers,
No. Well, I mean, could you imagine all the information that they would have throughout the galaxies, and all of a sudden they just download that to you? I mean, do you think your conscious and your mind would be able to handle all that information or know what to do with it? I mean,
Right.
it'd be like an overload. It'd probably put you in a coma or you'd be, I don't know.
I
I mean,
agree.
I don't think I could. I mean, as open as I am, as much as I want to learn and know, I don't want all that information all at once. Give me the bits and pieces that's going to help me, and let me try to figure that out and how it makes sense to me.
Right.
If
Exactly.
we all had our gifts upgraded, they'd be scared of us because we'd be so powerful.
Absolutely. I agree. I do. I I I hope, I feel from given readings that we get our true self back when we pass into the other realm. Um, I don't feel from what they've said that, here we're stifled and blocked and stuff. Maybe it's for a learning reason. Maybe that's part of it. I don't know. I know there's some people that think everything that happens to us, whether good or bad, we signed up for. So we signed some type of contract or something.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
I want to kick my own ass for half.
Yeah, I mean, it goes along with having a higher consciousness and a soul family, that we all take different roles on this lifetime, this timeline that we came into. So yeah, right. We signed up to have an experience to figure out, what it means to us or what lesson we can learn from it. And Jane signed up for hers. You signed up for yours. My mom and dad signed up to be the parents of me. And the next lifetime, all the roles might reverse, or it might not even be on this planet. It might be on another planet.
Right. It better be better. It better be better. I'll be pissed off.
I want to sign up for Shambhala or
yeah.
I want to pet dragons and have animals talk to me and have flowers and butterflies or the lights shining in the skies all the time of pretty colors. And
I want that.
That's the one I'm signing up for, but I don't think I've been there yet. At least I don't know if I've been there yet.
That's what I keep at. When I talk to the universe, I go, I hope wherever I go, when I pass, it has a bunch of flowers everywhere. That's all I want. I just want pretty flowers everywhere. Because to me, that's like one of the happiest things on earth are flowers. They just make me, I have tattoos of flowers. They just make me happy. So.
And I want to ride a dragon.
Ride a dragon.
Dragon. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you might be able to hear. There's dragons popping up. Yeah. Just learn how to whistle call them.
I'm gonna have to watch How to Train Your Dragon again to see if there's any hidden stuff in there for me to.
There's disclosure in that movie, How to Train a Dragon.
Yeah. That would be cool.
Well, I think we will go ahead and end it here, LaLa. This has been a great time. We love talking to you. I hope you come back, and maybe
I would love to have you back.
Instead of maybe hitting 30 subjects next time, maybe we'll pick a subject and try to. No, it's not your fault. We do it too. We love just talking about anything and everything.
No, I would enjoy if she would come on and do some readings for people on chat.
Absolutely, yeah, that would be nice.
Get your dowsing rods. I use dowsing rods also, so I love watching you work with your dowsing rods because I really enjoy using my dowsing rods.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
I haven't done that in a while. I'd definitely like to do that. Yeah.
Well, I have a new dowsing bobber that's kind of different than the rods, but it's just a bobber and it bobs up and down or back and forth. That's been really fun. I'll show it to you after the show. Yeah. It's really cool.
I didn't even know that was a thing, honestly. I want to try that. That's cool. But yeah.
So I'd love for you to come back and, hang out with our chat, and they can ask questions and you can do some readings for them. That would be really fun.
I would like that very much. Thank you.
Cool. So don't go anywhere. We'll just say bye to everybody in chat. And thank you all for coming tonight. It's been great. And I've been reading everything in chat you guys have been saying. And be sure to check out Bob and LaLa's show on Tuesday nights, right on YouTube.
Yes. Yep. At 9 p.m. Eastern. Yep.
Okay.
So go over there and subscribe to their channel and watch them. As you guys can tell from this interview, LaLa is such a great person, and I'm sure Bob is too. I haven't had the privilege of talking very much to Bob, but I've seen him on other people's shows, though.
Yeah.
So
We'll
He's
bring
out
him
there
on.
too.
We'll bring him on next time. He's got lots of experiences. And it's interesting because he's the scientist that has experiences. He never believed in this. So he's got a different point of view, but it's very interesting.
That would be great. And then everyone, we will start our 24 live stream with the orbs and rods and bunnies and skunks and everything else. We'll get that going. Here in a couple hours, we'll get that started again. This last one was what, 13 days? That this
13
last stream,
days. We
13
didn't
days
shut
this
it
last
down. We
stream
let it
went.
go.
Yeah, the cameras worked. There's times that we wake up and the camera shut off and to stop the stream. We went, oh, okay. Well, this one lasted 13 days, so we needed to reboot everything. We'll get the 24-hour cam going again so everybody can just pop in and out anytime they want.
That's cool.
So, but thank you so much, LaLa, and thank you everyone in chat. Thank you moderators for posting links. We just love each and every one of you guys. We appreciate you, and we will see everyone next Sunday.
All right.
Or in our chat from our 24 live.
That's right.
So
love and peace, everybody. Be kind to somebody and do something kind for yourself and spread the love.
And keep your vibrations high.
See you next time.